VueJS sucks. Yes. Welcome. I hope everyone's going well. I am back. All right, we're going to jump straight back into it today. We're going to continue off with documentation. Now, I've done a few things with Welk. I'm going to actually change this around. We now no longer need the drop-down item, so we can get rid of that. And we no longer need this passing through. So we've actually simplified stuff. That does mean that we've got to essentially reformat these. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, all right. If I just remove those 5 lines and let's just scroll back down to here. I'm just going to place them in here, but I'm just going to comment them out. We'll deal with that in a minute. We also want to in here. So we've got the model header, we've got the Welk drop down item I've implemented. We've also got a selector down. Now I had a bit of a think about this and I was like, I want this to be, Welk to be really dumb. So I've dumped it down even further, which gives us more creative freedom on our side. Essentially, they're just really dumb sort of Lego block components, which we just slot in place. But it gives us the ability to apply our own coloring and styling and all that kind of fun stuff to it, which I think is a lot better. All right, let's jump straight into it. So we've got the Welk down. Now what we do is we have a template and we've got a slot, and for the slot we'll have the button. It is slot, right? Hang on, give me 2 seconds. VueJS slots. V slot. Ah, all right. This is V slot button. And what we want to do is we actually want to grab these 2 lines. We just want to paste them in here. We do want to do something like this, and I think a size 12 was what we wanted. We also wanted another template where the V slot is going to be the drop down menu items. I think I'm gonna have to look at the source for that. And Nocturnal, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. How have you been? All right. The other reason why I'm doing it this way too is it makes the translation so much easier. We're not dealing with stupidity where we're creating stuff and to get the translations to work and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we're simplifying everything. So upload will be simplified because I'll need to add in the translations for that and so forth like that. Now I've got to remember all of that. I'm just going to open up my WebStorm. I'm going to have a look. This is something I will need to document heavily when I get to it. So I'm just going to close all of those. I think I'm happy with the modal so far. I want to deal with the drop down item. No, it's the drop down I want. It's drop down items. All right. There we go. Got close. The next thing we kind of need to actually implement in here is the whelk drop down item. This can be as basic as that. Easy done. But we'll have a trigger on it to be like, hey, yo, we're going to be doing this and so forth like that. So in here, we've got something complicated and it was doing all of this sort of stuff and we're like, yay. We're going to be changing that. We've also got the modal class. All right, cool. That is great. I do need to figure out how we're going to close the modal. We've got close modal as a function. Yeah, all right, sweet. That's easy as hell. In here, we won't need we'll need a string, but we won't need something like this. We'll have it like that now. Yeah, that's just going to be as simple as that. Oops, socks. I mean, say hi to everyone. Socks, be like, sup, I'm here. I want treats. Give me treats. Alright, so oops, I've got a delivery happening. Give me 2 seconds. Alright, they're only 4 minutes away. I'm just going to put that there and hopefully I won't dox myself. Done. Alright. Wait, I'm going to close my mobile so I don't accidentally show that. Let's go over here. I'll move this first. I really need a haircut. That sucks. You know what's happening. Yes, you do. Okay, secret screen. Oh, grab the cube. Whoop. Where did I put the tricks? In your bed. I can't complain today. For the last couple of weeks, I've just had no energy whatsoever. I got sick, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and I think I didn't have it fully out of my... I was just tired constantly. I needed a break, let's just say that. In your bed. In your bed. You know what this is? It's been a couple of weeks. In your bed. It's been a couple of weeks and she's already forgotten. I'm kind of disappointed in myself not getting NearBeach where I need and where I wanted it to be. But I'm hoping now I can speed through quite a bit of it. So yeah. Alright. Anyway, I think my delivery's almost here. Sorry, I'm just 1 minute away. They're at the end of the street. So yeah, we'll jump back into it. So yeah, the idea being is everything's now done like this, so you can just pass through these elements. It also gives us the ability to also pass through what did I call them? Separators into here a lot easier. I don't know why I did it the other way before. As I was doing it, I was like, nah, this needs to change. What we can do, v on click equals, this will, we can still do this drop down item clicked. So we can go drop down item clicked, and then we can just go trigger is going to be new folder. Like so, we know the event's going to be a string. Essentially, that's it. And then, all right, my pizza's here. I'll be right back. Hey, how are you? Hey, why aren't you in bed? In your bed. No, in your bed. I need space on here. In your bed. Thank you. Alright, got pizza. No, I don't. You can't eat my pizza. In your bed. No, you can't eat my pizza. In your bed. Alright, so one of the main sort of benefits of doing it this way too is I get to style everything up here. I get more control and so forth like that. Once again, I'm building dumb components as well because it's just a shell component library. So, what I can do, I can go folder, I can then go size equals 12. I could do that, and then I just go new folder. Now I need to translate these. So we're gonna go up here. Oh, we've already got them up there. So, upload. Do we have upload? No, we don't. And that's the... Oh. I just need to translate. I need to go here and do T upload right there. That's perfectly fine. Oops. This will be T new folder. Easy done. So yeah, we've just got to do this for the rest of them. So do welk drop down item. And Tete, how are you going? All right, we're going to do the drop down item clicked. There's going to be a new link. This is going to be link to size equals 12. Then we're just going to go T, and then we're just going to go new link. Easy done. That's it, pretty much it. A welk drop down item. We'll go to the on. Click. Item clicked. This will be upload document. This will be, and this is where I just scroll down a little bit just to see the upload cloud icon. We just go size equals 12. We do something like that, and then we just go T, and then we just go upload document. And that's it. So that's new structure. That's a lot better. Easier for everyone to read because it's all now in just templates. I don't need to look somewhere else and go, all right, cool, I'm doing a for loop through all these and it's rendering out. Because that's annoying. And also, we're handling the translations really easily. And it's kind of simplified this whole entire process now. Now I've got the modal showing and everything like that. So if I go over here and I click upload, you see, perfect. Perfect. I just now need to create these templates and get them working really well. Which hopefully will do this stream. Oh, I dropped my pizza. Ah. And I've got to get that private functionality working too. So that should have taken us to the NearBeach homepage. In fact, it should be opening it up in a new tab. That's a quick fix that I'm going to do. I forgot where I put that. All right, into there. But yeah. Done the wrong thing. Target equals blank. Easy done. And I think that's the only A tag. So if we go back into here, I'm going to get rid of this. Yeah, that worked perfectly. All right. Now my pizza. So create new folder. We've got to create a folder. We've got to do something like that, and it's got to create a folder and then create a folder here. It's currently not doing anything. And if we open up, oops. That's not connected to anything. So we're going to go to new folder. This is pretty much what new folder is at the moment. All right, we've got the button, we've got the footer. So that's the button, that's the footer stuff. And that's the closing the modal. So I want it, when someone clicks on it, create new folder. All right, create new folder, connect up to the backend and all that kind of fun stuff. All right, cool. We haven't actually done that at all. I've also got to do this too. All right. So create new folder. I'm trying to remember the API for this. It has been a couple of weeks. I'm just going to minimize everything. Don't think I have the API set up. If I don't, I'm going to set up everything on the front end so that way I can set up the API, hopefully on the weekend. Now, this would be for Projects API. We've got the get. But we don't have a post. So I'll need to add in a post for the documents. That way with the documents, we're going to be dealing with folders, links, and uploads all in one place. That way, it's one API point. I can handle that on my side of things. And the information that comes through, yeah, all right, cool. So I'm just going to write a simple to-do. Write documentation post where users can upload folders, upload/create. Folders, hyperlinks, and upload documentation. Can create folders, insert hyperlinks, and yeah, all right, cool. Now, she's got more hair than me. This is Socks. She's usually on my stream. I just don't have the best webcam in the world. So, yeah, this is her head up here. If I go, Socks, Socks, say hi. She'll look at the camera. So I'm just going to do a to-do. I'm going to have to do that later. Not a problem. Let's get at least the layout sort of working. And if I need to implement anything, and well, I can do that tonight. All right. So, new folder. We know we've got to set this up. So this is create new folder, and then we've got to admit the change up to go, yo, this is the new folder. She does, and she also loves to sit on my keyboard and make changes, and she also loves to sit on my mouse. So yes. And she's actually staring at the screen at the moment. She's my #1 viewer. I should get a little tiny computer. Yeah, I kind of want to handle how we're going to be dealing with this. I'm just going to get some more pizza. I'll be right back. I'm back. Cat GPT. She'll also meow at you when she's not happy. Alright. So we're going to create the data to send. So data to send dot set folder. Oh, do I... Give me a couple of seconds. Sorry, I'm just going to... She took care of the packet. She also took down the back end. I don't have the folders in there. All right. What I'm doing is I'm just quickly referencing what I want to call the variables and so forth like that. I'm just going to move that to the right. I'm just going to have to look this up. This is part of the serializer under documentations. It's folder serializer. Ooh, all right. I just call it description, but that matches the database. I mean, I'm happy to keep it description. Oh, what's the model? New photo. That's not going to be a problem. What the issue is, I need the backend to know what's happening. So I might need to insert in here a task. In which case, we're going to tell the backend, hey, I'm just going to be creating a new folder. So I'm just quickly looking up something. That's one thing I got to get rid of is the API client. So I'm just searching for a particular thing. All right, fetch, yeah. In your bed. In your bed. In your bed. Go. You're half in your bed. Come on. All right. I'm just going to paste that over there. We're going to go down into the new folder. And what we're going to do is, now in this sort of case, we've got think socks. Wait, I needed everyone to see me eat. People are here to see you, not me. All right, in this sort of case, what we want to do is we're going to have a try catch for this. To handle the errors. We've got to handle the errors correctly. So if something goes wrong, we kind of want to notify the user something went wrong. I don't know what to do in that sort of case in there, but we're going to figure that out at a later date. Now, I won't need to worry about the response. No, I do need to worry about the response, yeah. Okay, cool. Alright, so we're going to hit the API, version 1. This is just going to be object store destination. I'll need to utilize the object store in here in a second. Just give me 2 seconds. That will be just need to import that. Is done. Object store .id. Yeah, cool. And then documents. And then we've got our init method will be a post because we're actually going to be creating things. Headers. LP content type. Application JSON X CSRF token. Oh. We're going to do that. And then we're going to send the data upstream. Now this is where we've got to think if we're going to be optimistic or not. So let's say I key out a folder name. Let's say I'm on very, very slow internet and I go create new folder. Do I suddenly close this and then just assume this folder will be created? I mean, that's possible. It could be easily created and so forth like that. Or do I wait here until confirmation? Now, I'm leaning on the former. But it makes certain things, I won't say harder. Certain things will have to be implemented in a certain way. So, for example, if I only grab the documents that are in this current folder and send it to the user, and then the user clicks on another folder and it does another request to get that information and brings it back, I can't do that with the optimistic one, because there could be a case where someone creates a new folder, then navigates to a different folder, and the system then gives the good old, yep, this is done, and then it inserts the folder in the wrong spot. Now, albeit, I could potentially handle that. So I'm eating pizza by making sure that I'm in that particular folder. Alternatively, too, is if it's optimistic, it'll create a folder on that system that no one will be able to click in yet. I kind of want to say that that folder is getting created if I do it optimistically. That way, someone clicks away from it, it'll disappear. I am kind of leaning on the optimistic side of things here. That way, if things are very super slow, could potentially work. All right. Think of doing this optimistically. And yo, Donata, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. All right, so I'm going to do this optimistically. I'm going to assume that the backend is going to be fine with things. We will need to handle it breaking. So to do that, what I'm going to do, I should be able to get to the description from here. Because the one problem is, once I get to this this catch and stuff like that, the whole system could have moved on. Let's say it just takes 30 seconds to create a new folder. Not gonna happen, but let's just say you're on terrible internet. It just takes 30 seconds to send it off, and you're gonna get the result back. What we want to actually have happen is, comes back, you hit you've already tried creating another folder and stuff like that. So we want the original record in here. Yep, easy done. So this gets all sent off. Yeah, I'm just wondering. I'm about 50% sure that this data to send will be the same because we're dealing with this in a try in here. I mean, I could always... And then... Yeah, I thought so. I think the try catch in this sort of case won't work. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. So I want to do that. All right. Handle errors, and then remove from optimistic list. All right, add, sorry, I'm just writing out my to-dos. Add to optimistic list, to-do, close modal. Because once the modal's closed, it doesn't need to do anything. The user can open up a new modal or anything like that. So the idea here is we're going to add it to an optimistic list. And what that means is in here, there'll be the item itself. It'll be at the very, very bottom, whether it is a folder or whether it is a upload or a new link, anything like that. We'll specify what it is, whether it is a folder, link, or an upload. And it'll just appear in this list. Then, sorry, I'm just also trying to think at the same time. We don't want it at a certain point. All right, yeah, I've finished eating socks. We can put the camera back on me. All right, there we go. So go in an optimistic list. In that list, it's going to be very, very simple. It'll be quick and easy to add stuff to it and remove stuff to it. So for example, once it's finished uploading, it will remove it from the optimistic list and will add the proper stuff to the correct documentation stuff. Easy done. And the optimistic list can live at this create and filter level. Actually, no, it'll actually belong. This is also something I forgot to think about too. It's getting to the point where I should start moving everything into state management. Because thing is, this down here needs to then connected this here. And I don't want to heap it of emits and procs because they suck. And it certainly is getting to that point where having another state management system just for documentation would help. We could potentially have it at object data. Alright, so I'm gonna have a look this over here. So we've got the project page. So this is how many components we've got to get down just to the project page. We've got the properties component. This component over here. It's under an anonymous component. We've then got the documents component in here. From here, we've got create and filter, and then we've got the welc dropdown, and essentially we've got those items. We also do have that wee little bit of a modal, which disappears somewhere else, which is what we're editing right now. With that particular modal, if I were to click OK and we need to send data, we'll need to send data up here to the document component and then back down into the list rendering and all the way down here, and that sucks. Absolutely sucks. Whereas if I had state management, I would go, hey, could you just edit this? The one problem is I don't want to use state management everywhere if I don't need it. That's the key thing. At the moment, we don't have too much of a state management thing. There's the Pinia stuff. We've got the permissions, so what the user has access to and what they don't have access to and all that kind of fun stuff. We've got the object metadata. So this is what tags there are, what types, so forth like that, like non-specific. This is stuff that's used on the page and so forth like that for different objects. For example, status. We've got the user information. That's there just so I don't need to reference it from the back end constantly. It's just there. That's not going to change that often. And when it does, it's usually user driven, in which case I can update the state at the same time. Now we've got nav. That's just telling us whether or not the nav bar is open or not. That's a very, very simple one. And then we've got the object. Now, in reality, what I could potentially do is I could put in here all the documentation stuff. But then this is going to be a really big object state. It isn't too bad at the moment. Let's just really have a look at how big it is. Let's go into our stores. Let's go in our object. As you can see, it's got all of this to do. We really need all the extra data for the status. It'll be easy for everyone if we add the status as a model directly. However, we lose key information like higher order status. All right. Oh yeah, that's just me thinking about everything like that. We recommend free code camp. I don't teach how to code. You're more than welcome to listen and stuff like that, and I'm happy to explain stuff. I won't do your homework. But yeah. Free code camp is free, hence the name. You don't need to sign up. If you don't want to sign up, you can go menu, curriculum, and just jump on straight away. You can get your JavaScript stuff done if you really wanted to. What is JavaScript? What does it do? Cool. You can go through it like that. So here, we also... Do I have a books command? As a programming unicorn. No, not that one. What is there? Damn it. I've absolutely forgotten their name. I'm terrible at names. There's a lot of resources out there too. It depends what you want to do also. I'm in web dev. I know very little about gaming and so forth like that. I know very little about Internet of Things or not any information anymore about desktop applications, but I've done them in the past. Long time ago. Alright, so I can decide to put the documentation information in this store. It's not too big, this store. This is how big the store is, which is good. So there's that possibility that we could do that. It also means that I only need to fetch it once, but I need to handle clearing it. So if someone were to, let's say, go from a project to a task or from a project to another project, I will need to handle that. I'll need to handle clearing that from the system. Which I think we can do. Thanks, Docs. We also need to state whether or not we have loaded in the data. So, for example, if I move, currently at the moment, if I move to another, let's say, linked object, and then I move back to documentation, it doesn't know that we initially loaded in that data, and it then does another contact for that data and gets that data, in which case we don't want that to actually happen. We just want it to be like, all right, cool. I'll fetch the data once, I'll check to make sure that we haven't done it before. Which could work really easily. I just need another field in here saying is document loaded, very similar to is loaded. It'll be is document loaded or documentation loaded. Yeah, and then I'll just have documentation in here and any other sort of folders and stuff like that in here. So if I were to have a look at the structure that we've got, let's go down here. It's anonymous, it's well tabbed, it's this documentation. We've got the setup provider. This will be document list. We've got documents like this, and then we've got folders like that. I think I'm leaning on the yes now. I really am. And the other thing is, if I grab all the information from the back end, because you're not going to deal with a megabytes of data, you're going to deal with not that much. It'll mean that navigating and moving stuff around is going to be really super simple for me. I won't need to make a call to the back end to be like, hey, is this when you're dragging this folder into the parent folder, does that folder name already exist? Yeah. All right. So now that I've rubber duckied all of that out to you guys, the documentation loaded. That is going to be a big false straight at the back. We then need documents and folders. But before I continue, I'm just going to put objects up there. I'm going to do that. And I'm just having a quick think. And my thought is... It's when I move away and then come back. I need to double check what's actually happening. So what I'm going to do, give me a couple of seconds. I'm going to open up Pinia. I've got the object meta, sorry, the object here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate away. And notice how it keeps the object data in there. If I go to 16, that's when it updates it. And that's when I need to clear out that data. All right. So I also need to have a look at the document structure. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm just going to go to number 2. Right, view, anonymous. We're going to go base, projects, anonymous, component, wiki tabs. Oh, I'm on links. I want documentation. Oh, I've got to do that again. All right, don't sit on the keyboard. Come here. No. You know not to sit on the keyboard. All right. Socks, if you're gonna jump around and not going at, you see. All right. Now and Evil and Avoid, how are you? Fair enough. Yeah, she's here. She likes to jump on my keyboard, jump on my mouse, and all that kind of stuff. And she hates it when I pick her up and move her towards me to stop that from happening. I like to call it forced cuddles. It's an evil plan. All right, so I'm going to move these structures into here. And what I want to do is I'm just going to close everything I don't need at the moment so I can super focus on this. We want to go into the document list, and inside the document list, oh, hang on. Documents. Where am I getting the documents then? Oh, they're props. Oh, that's in the document component. All right. The plot thickens. So here it is. And then, yeah, I've just got to move this to the appropriate locations. Sorry, I'm giving a bit of a think at the moment. And the thought is, do I store this all in the object store? Or should I create a specific store just for the documents themselves? It is separating stuff out. It is simplifying stuff. And I've just got to think if that is plausible. I can see a case where it's better to do it. So, hey, Scotty B, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Excuse me, I am just logging into my production environment very, very quickly. Oh, now you want to sit there. All right, give me a couple of seconds. I'm just going to make sure I'm not going to share my keyboard when doing this. All right, and then I want to go into, let's go into Welk share components. Now, this is a good contender to say, to move it out into its own store. We've actually got documents on the cards and stuff like that. Now, the cards are a sub-object, not an object itself. Sorry, my neck's just a bit stiff tonight. In which case, yeah, I'm going to actually separate them out into their own store. It's kind of needed. It's going to be 10 times easier for me to actually access and edit information in the store. And then when I've got sub-objects where the sub-object loads in like this, where I can add stuff in here, it's just going to be 10 times simpler for me. So in this sort of case, what we're going to do is we're just going to remove that from there. And that's perfectly fine. Actually, no, that's the wrong thing. We're not going to remove that. We're going to remove that. There we go. Definitely not wanting to break the system. So in the stores, what we want to do is, I'm just going to grab my keyboard because Socks is hella in the way. There you go, Socks. Oops. Oops. We're going to create a new folder. And that's going to be called documentation. Like so. We're going to follow the same sort of pattern here. We've got going to create a documentation.ts. Going to add that in. Yep. And we're going to go documentation.spec.ts. Easy done. Now the spec themselves, it's just going to be that. Let's not lie. This will be called documentation.spec. Check this will be create pinia, before each, all of that. This will be at stores objects, no, that will be documentation, then documentation.ts. It'll be documentation store. We'll get that fixed up. It doesn't need to be perfect at the moment. This is just making sure things will run. In the document TS, what we're going to do is we're just going to go store.documentation.ts, import defined store from Pinia. Export const use documentation store. That will equal define store. That will be documentation. Easy done. And then we just go state. Oops. Better finally getting over that. Oh, nice. Okay, I'm glad that you are getting better. So yeah, sucks. There we go. All right, state. Yeah, we're just gonna return. It's documentation loaded. That's going to be false straight off the bat. The next things that we want to kind of put in is, this is all done. I'm happy with that. I'm going to yank stuff from here. I'm just moving that off to the right so I can start yanking stuff and putting it into here. So the first one, which I'm currently kind of finding in here, is where's the we've got the load data. We've got the current folder. There you go. Current folder ID. That's going to be a 0. Which means I've got to remove it out from the document component because now we can reference it and yeah. All right. So I'm just having a quick think. Yeah, I do want that up there. Define functions. I don't know where. Define refs. Breadcrumb array. Oh, pretty much all of this. Thank you, sweetie. Breadcrumb array. Current folder. Documents folder. Is loaded once again. That's documentation loaded, and max file size should all belong up here instead of in this one folder. So we're just going to go bread. All right, that's going to be. Is it prop type? Oh, I think that's how we want to do that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be like that. One thing which I want to... I'm just having a quick gander in here in the code and stuff like that. So state return count. Yeah, I want. Oh, they got it like that. Yeah, all right. Sorry, I'm just having a quick think. One of the problems is some of the data we actually get from the back end is in this sort of format. But when I have a look at the documentation, it's in this sort of case. And I want to be consistent with the cases. Just so... it's just best practice. Just say that. All right. I mean, I can change it to breadcrumbs array is loaded and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, if we have a look at the object one, that's actually matching what we get from the back end. Whereas with the permissions, we've got the permissions like this. All right, cool. Apart from is loaded, That's fine. I'm going to change that. I'm making an exitive order. There we go. Then we need documents. It's going to be an empty array as prop type. And then what we want to do is have document item interface. Have it as an array like that, and then do something like that. Easy done. We're all happy with that. And then we've got folders. That's going to be empty as. And this is where once again we go prop type, and then we just go folder in item interface. Do something like that, and we're all very happy about that. Is loaded. That's just going to be Boolean. We're all happy with that. And then max upload size. I am definitely sure I've made a mistake there, so I'm just going to copy that. I'm just going to cheat. And I am going to do that as a 0. That actually gets set once, and we don't need to worry about it. But I think we actually get that every single time we go to the documentation. That way, if a user doesn't need a refresh, if something changes. All right, cool. So straight off the bat, I can start commenting out the stuff on the right-hand side and finding out what is going to have problems. Now, I could also do a set defaults on here, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have, I can't even type, can I? We're going to have actions. And what the action is going to do is it's going to reset everything. The actions are, oh yeah, it's just an object. And then each one is a functionality. So reset documentation. Yeah, it's just a natural function. And then what I need to do is it's going to be this dot bread. Place everything onto defaults. So this dot bread crumbs array equals an empty array. Oh, it's not letting me get to that. Have I mucked up? Yes, I actually have kind of mucked up. Socks. Did you want to get down? There we go. All right. Socks wanted to go down. So that should be that. And then actions should be like that. But then I'm not getting breadcrumbs array. Because I can't spell. All right. So the reason for this particular action is I don't need to reset all these particular fields every single time I change a page or something like that. I could put this call when I actually change a page, which would be a smart thing to do, which that way it's just the one call line functionality instead of actually having to set it everywhere. So yeah. And also if I need to modify this, I can, and everyone's happy. this dot folders equals this. This dot is documentation loaded equals false. I'm not gonna worry about the upload size and all that kind of stuff. That's just to reset the documentation, which we should do every single time you go to a different object or something like that. Which I think should be done. So yeah, when you go to a different route, I should be actually resetting this. I should also be resetting the object data and so forth like that. Now that I think about it, so depending where I want to put this, there's two places that I can put this. One is when the object gets opened up and it fetches data, I also reset this at the same time. Or two, I do it on the router itself before each route, during each route change, it will just reset the documents. Now, there's not a lot of data that is resetting. This should be fast and easy, and hopefully the user won't notice this. Doesn't notice. But not every single page will have a route change. So what I mean is, in here, it'll go, those are all the different routers, and then before each, it does the permissions, it does all that. If it's undefined, next, the permission, else forbidden. Yeah, all right. Clean up data. That also now means that I need to add in to do this, and I don't know how that's starting to affect the router's performance. That's the thing. I do need the destination and I do need the permission store, because I need to know, I need those bits of information. Because yeah, if it's undefined, it goes next and everyone's happy. Else if has permission, yep, next, otherwise. But all right, so it does need that data. Documentation store, and then that will be dot reset documentation. So clean up store data on route change. So we could also do this with the objects and so forth like that. I don't know if this is good. That's the thing. I'm not sure this is good. I mean, it's such a small thing. So we're on here. If we open up the documentation, oh yeah, I've broken stuff. I'll fix that up in a minute. Whoops, sorry. So we're on here, and if I go to the Kanban board, it's like request failed 404. Oh, that's just for that. That's fine. If I go on here and I go into a new one, go into here and go into, yeah, that was just the Kanban board functionality. It doesn't feel like it has impacted this whatsoever, because it is just a quick and simple sort of cleanup sort of exercise. I'm wondering if I should put it on the objects too. And really just null everything out. I'm actually going to say, yes, we do want this like this. because I get the ID, I get the status, I get the host. I got so much more information with this structure. I've actually answered my question. We've got story points now. Yes, we should. Yeah, that's going to be a yes. Also, oh my god, I can't do this. That's that. All right. That does that. And then I just need to go actions. That will be, what have we called it into here? Reset objects. And that will be like that. And then all we need to do is, we're going to cheat. We're just going to copy all of this. We're just going to paste it in like this. We are then going to go down here. This might not work 100% because now I need to clean up all of that. Yeah, there's a lot of clean up with this. Oi. All right. So that's going to reset everything back down to normal. Yeah, I kind of like that. It gives... So I got to use the object store in here too. That makes sure that when we reach another object or you move away from that object, that data is gone. And nothing can reference that data by mistake because it's now been cleared out. So the ID is 0. That's a uniformal thing, being like that ID doesn't exist anywhere in NearBeach. So I can look for a 0. If there's a 0, we're going to be like, nah. Sorry, you don't exist. All right, cool. So that one's done. That one's also done. I'm happy with that. We now need to start putting information into the store, and that's very easy. It's a lot easier than admitting and doing all the prop things, and less code, less tracking information going up and down between the different components. So let's start doing that. Yes. So I'm going to bring the documentation component back over here. We get rid of all of this. Do we have any refs? We no longer need those. So we do actually have a watch. We're watching for the thing to be loaded. Once it is loaded, that's when we actually get our data. Now, we could still have that information down here. That shouldn't be an issue. So I'm just getting distracted with this cube right now. That being said, yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. And it loads in the data, so load data, goes down here, on hook, on mounted async, is like, okay, all right, cool, yep. Load data, we just need a state in the state management that we are loading up the data, and that should happen pretty quickly. Now there is a very rare chance that we could hit the backend twice. And hey, Code, how are you going? How have you been? Surviving? Fair enough. Fair enough. Yes, yeah. It's a weird one at the moment. I have heard it's very bad. So, I'm sorry you're going through that. It does suck. How are the little kitty cats? Are they getting stuck in the wall again? I'm on my last few pages of my Python course with Dr. Chuck's Python for Everyone. Highly recommend, and it's free. Ooh, nice, Scotty B. All right, so this is now somewhere else. So what we want to do is we've got object store. We're going to have the documentation store, use documentation store, easy done. I'm just going to do that like that. Go to root folder. That will be Yes, Socks. Come here. Yes. Say hi to Codephobia. Be like, documenting bullets and last. Yeah. It sucks. You haven't been streaming lately, have you? Socks, your tail. Off the keyboard. Alright. Say hi to everyone. Alright. Documentation store .current folder, and then we just delete end for that. There we go. We fix up that right away. We can get rid of this. Documentation store .is loaded. Is documentation loaded? The reason why I want to keep that like that, oh yeah, fair enough. I had to stop for a couple of weeks. Just was not feeling well. Let's just say that. All right, what I want to do. I want to do that. Oh, I did this. Ah, damn it. I wanted to do documentation store. And I didn't get that right, did I? Damn it. All right, copy. Paste. Oh, that's a bit weird. I don't know why it's giving me that error. Let's have a look in here. Yeah, documents. Unless it's not meant to be that like that. Give me a couple of seconds. Let's have a look in here. Let's go search. Mutation types. No, not mutation types. That's how we mutate things. Pinya. I need a store. Yeah, we know how to find a store. Alright, I'm just going to click on this. Yeah, I've got this wrong. It's not a prop type. There we go. I've mucked up. But I've fixed it. Alright, cool. So that's like that now. That fixes up that. And then we just go documentation store dot is document loaded into there. And we've got to handle the errors also. I've got that. Divvy out all the data. Yep, that divvies out all the data. We've also got to tell the system that we have loaded in the data. So once that's all done, we just go true and we're happy with that. All right, cool. So this means that the data is loaded in. Now we've got update folder location. That really should be part of the store now. I'm just thinking where we actually call this. Because we've got the current folder ID, we've got the breadcrumbs array. We actually do two things at once. That could go into the store. So I'm just going to go over here. We're going to go and do an update folder location. That's going to be index number. We're just going to do something like that. We can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can delete that from there. Just paste that into here like this, and just go this dot delete end delete beginning. Whoops. And then it's not data.index. It'll just be index like that. And then it'll be this dot should be that. Should be that. All right, cool. So yeah, we're just moving everything into the store now, slowly. And then we're going to bring this one back. We'll need to get the data from the store. So that's create and filter. We're passing. Actually, we no longer need to actually pass that information down. Cool. We just go into this create here. We scroll all the way up to our props. We don't need this. We can get it directly from the store. So we get rid of it. Get rid of this. Simplifies this. All right. Breadcrumbs array. We don't need to pass that down anymore. If we go into here and go into the props, we get this all from the store. This is the power of the store. We can quickly get all this information. Now, we've got the update folder location. That, once again, is in the store. We can go down into the breadcrumbs. We've got the update, that there. We've also got the go to root folder. That can also go in the store. So I'm just going to cut this out because it doesn't need to belong in here. We'll just paste it very, very quickly into here. Just delete the end to the end there. We're just going to That's it. That's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like this in alphabetical order. It just makes it so much easier for me to find stuff later in life. So yeah, that's it. That's go root folder. It's just those two items. Smack bang. Do that. Breadcrumb array. Nothing. We're all happy. All right. Cool. So that means less functions here. Oops. So we've still got load data. Now, load data is... I'm thinking of Kanban cards at the moment, where we'll have Kanban card. I think with the API and the child objects, I will have them at the high level. I won't have them nested in the API. Just makes my life a lot easier and everyone's life a lot easier. So this should be fine having it in here. We can, if we wanted to, we can actually move this into the store. And that way this data is loaded once, and we're hunky-dory. So yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking at the moment if that is a smart thing to do. I mean, it means everything's in the store, but then we're really packing in the store when in reality the store should be just storing information. We should have not so much in there. So I'm going to leave that there for the moment unless someone comes along and goes, no, you got to do this. There's also, how do I handle the errors? Because this is going to be different. And I think handling errors here would be a lot easier. Yeah. Alright. Now I'm going to leave it here. Gives me that flexibility with the errors. Alright, cool. So we no longer need these. Alright. Because we're going directly to the store. So if I go into the breadcrumbs itself, I no longer need to omit stuff. Alright, so we're getting rid of this, we're getting rid of this, we're really deleting a lot of code here. If the props up breadcrumb array length, alright, there is one thing that we do need to actually do. So we want to define stores, and we want to go const documentation store equals use documentation store, presto. This prop just becomes documentation store. Same with all of these props now. Oh, this could be an action now. Ah, piss off. Sorry, excuse my French. This could be an action. This would be really, really good as an action, less confusing, and so forth like that. What I can do, I can paste that in. Paste that in. Paste that in. Get in between folders. This can also potentially be an action. Ooh. That description does work. Oh, this is different now. This V on. It's just that now. See, so much simpler. We're no longer emitting up. We're just manipulating the store directly. Now. That should be there. With this beyond documentation store.update folder location, and then we just key in the index like that. That's simple. I don't know why it's not like in the descriptions and stuff like that. It should be. That's part of the interface. I'm going to have a look into that deeply. I have nothing with folders at the moment. All right, not a problem. We'll come back to it. All right, so, and we're done with the breadcrumb. So that was pretty easy. This one, we're no longer passing down documents and no longer passing down folders. So we're just going to delete this. And notice how simple this code gets. Yeah, it does have a description, you fucking... Sorry, excuse my French. Yeah, it does have a description. Sorry, I'm just getting sick of the linters sometimes. The best thing is we can just delete these props. And everything becomes really, really simple again. We need to define our stores. And it must be Aiden. How are you going, Aiden? Oh, welcome back. How are you going? I'm going good. Documentation store equals use documentation store. There we go. We've got that in. We now just got to key in all of this information. I think I might use a computed for this. You're doing good, just preparing for the job interview. Fair enough. Well, good luck also. Hopefully it goes well. So yeah, hopefully next stream you can tell me you got a job. That would be awesome. Now I might. As results equals computed. And then what I want to do is I want to go return has no results. All right, cool. Return is where we want to go. Documentation store dot document dot length plus documentation store dot folders dot length equals 0. That's it. It's in a simple computed. There you go. That's just simple. This one is just going to be documentation store dot folders and then actually I can get rid of the conditioning from here because now it's in a store. I don't need to worry about this not showing or anything. Also been checking out Rust FS as a Minio alternative since Minio is no longer maintained. Oh, damn. Really? What happened with Minio? Oh, the community version is no longer maintained. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Give me a couple of seconds. Do I want to go to there? I want to type in features, new features for NearBeach. I'm going to bring this down. API, database, documentation, documents, Docker, car. Joshua, Kanban. I think documentation would be documents and upload. Maybe schedule, request for change, administration, unit testing, NearBeach MISC. I'm gonna put it under documentation. Rust support Rust FS. Alternative to Minio. I'll put that up quite high. There we go. If it's anything like Minio, it should be easy to implement. So, yeah. Yeah, it's just, I've got to write the documentation around it, being like, you got to do this, this, and this, and so forth like that. It could be just as simple as being like, all right, cool, copy and paste what's done in Minio. All right, so we're going down here. We've almost moved this. Oh yeah, once again, I probably don't need these. Because if we've got the store, now it does mean that folder list will exist on the page, but that's perfectly fine. There won't be anything in there. That I haven't really done anything with the folder at the moment. That's perfectly fine because that will no longer be an A tag because it'll be a folder. It'll be on a click and all that kind of fun stuff. With the props, we won't need that at all. Nor will we need the interface. So in here, what we'll probably get, fair enough, yep. Now I just need to get the folder list. This is where I just need a little bit of information around this. Get us exactly the equivalent of computed values. That's what I want. Sweet. Essentially, I just need to get the computed stuff out of here. We've got a filter for particular, if we're in a particular folder, we want particular things and stuff like that. So if we go to the documentation, we've got update folder location and so forth like that. We've got this breadcrumbs array. We don't actually want it to be this. Oh no, we want that one. Current folder. Yeah, that's working. We want to get us where we're getting the current documents and folders that match. So, if I go back over here, let's open up this. Let's go into the network. I'm just going to go to the documentation. We should get that. I'm going to open up that. We're going to open up the response. We don't have anything for this one. We're going to go to number 2. Okay, we've got a folder of 0. So I'm just wondering how I'm going to apply this filter. Because currently at the moment I've got a folder as being 0 or null. I've got to make sure if thing's 0, we filter for everything that is that. Isn't that right, Socks? She's like, yes. All right. So, going back into here, we're going to do our getters. Now, I haven't done getters with Pinia, so I'm just going to read the documentation very quickly. Oh, cool. It's just that. Sweet. We're just going to copy that. We're just going to paste that in. We're going to be happy. We'll try to be at least somewhat happy. We want to pass through the state. And what we want to do, oops. We're going to get folders. And get documents. We've got to get this information. So what this is going to do is we're going to return state.documents.filter. We're passing through row such that const condition 1 equals where the row dot folder equals the state dot current folder ID. Const condition can't spell. Condition 2 equals. Now this is when the state.current folder ID equals 0 and the row.folder equals null. Because it can equal null. Now this one Oh, it's a string. Oh my god. Because yeah, the document item interface, the folder can actually be a null, which is going to be a problem with us down here. We can do this. I mean, it might be the case that we check for nulls first. Really sucks. She's like, yes. Sorry, I'm just gotta think this out. So I just gotta do a little bit of Google, JavaScript. Oh, hang on, let's just open up this. Let's go like this. Let's go var a equals null. It's meant to be a number. So if we go to string, which is undefined, now that should be okay. Oh. But if I go pass int for a, it becomes not a number. I mean, why do I have to do both sides as to string? Yeah, it doesn't like that. Oh, fuck off. Sorry, excuse my French. Yeah, it's not gonna like that. Alright. Yeah. I'll do that. Now this might be a null, so I'll do that. That should work. So the condition one is if both sides equal the same ID, we're hunky-dory. If the current folder ID equals that and the row folder is a null, that's also a pass. So what I got to state here, if folder ID matches current folder, if current folder ID is null and the row folder is null, we assume row folder should be a 0. Now alternatively, what I could do is I could do a check up here. Another way of doing this, if we were to do it like this without breaking it into the separate conditions, is we would go const folder ID equals row.folder, like that. So well, considering it's a string, wait, give me a string. We could do something like that, which Actually simplifies this a lot. Alright, so if the row folder is null, we assume it is a 0. And then it just becomes a return folder ID equals the state dot current folder ID dot to string. And I think that simplifies it. All right. Ah, can't use Vim at the moment. I think that is 10 times better solution. Less confusing. All right, cool. So we've got the documents. Now we're just going to do the folders. The folders are going to be the exact same sort of code, except done on the folders. So return state.folders dot filter. We'll have a row. Once again, if the row.folder is null, we assume it is a 0. So const folder ID equals row dot. Oh, this is parent folder. Just got to make that little distinction. All right, done. And having it here is great. We then just go down into the folder list itself. Down here, we just need to import this. So we just gotta define store const documentation store equals use documentation store. We're all happy with that. And then we're just gonna go documentation store.get folders. That's it. Oh, it's not a callable thing. Ah, whoops. All right. So it's like a compute value. Double count. All right. Double count plus 1. Hey. Just needed to get rid of that. All right. There's a lot that I need to do with the folder list. This is this ain't finished with what we're wanting to do here. So, for example, we don't want that. We actually want when someone clicks on the folder details for it to actually change the folder location and all that kind of fun stuff. But we're not dealing with folders yet because I just don't have data for it. All right, we'll get some data soon. I just got to create the API endpoint. I've got to create the create folder and all that kind of fun, fun stuff. But we've made this a lot better. Anyway, let's go into document list. Right away, we're getting rid of the props. We no longer need them. We no longer need that. We no longer need that because we've moved everything into the store. Now, the get icon we do need. That's perfectly fine. We want to get rid of that. We want to then go define store. Const documentation store equals use documentation store. Easy done. We're going to find out what we broke. We're going to go down here and we're going to go documentation store dot get documents. That's it. The best thing is, if this isn't lying to me because it's a computed values, nothing changes until I make it change to those computed particular values. So if I move this to the right and I scroll down and I hit documentation, there is our doc. So I'm just going to hit refresh. I'm going to hit documentation. There we go. I've got the network tab open on the other side now. When we used to go away from this and then come back to this, we used to get the documents again. We are still getting that, which is not what we want. All right. So I'm just having a wee little bit of a think. Okay, so I might not be updating what I want. So I'm going to move this to the left. I'm going to click on the view. I'm going to click on the pin here, and I'm going to click on the documentation. And in here, we've got is document loaded true. If we move away and then we come back, it should be hitting that and be like, oh no, we don't need to load anything. Slow down. Don't partay. All right. So I'm going to go to the document component itself. We're going to scroll up to load data. So load data. We do it anyway. We just load the data. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm going to throttle the GP. I'm just going to move off to network tabs. I'm going to move back here. Oh, that was way too quick. God damn. Yeah, that was way too quick for me to notice. I'm just going to go offline. I'm going to move away, move back. I mean, the data's already there. Tell users we are loading. Is documentation loading? I'm just going to go. So, what I'm doing is, if document is loaded, don't load again. Now, if I add in a refresh button and stuff like that, I'll turn that off to false and rerun it and all that kind of fun stuff, so don't worry about that. I'm just gonna, I turned off the thing. I'm just gonna go no throttling. I'm just gonna refresh. I'm going to delete all of that. I'm just going to go documentation. We've got one, move off. Documents, we're still getting them. Boo, boo. Why did I get rid of it there? That was a big boo-boo on my end. So we've got this. Now move away. And then I come back, boom, done. And then the documentation's there. That way we're not overwriting what I've got already there for the user. Current folder location, all that kind of stuff stays stagnant. So if the user needs to move on to a different tab and come back to this tab, everything will be set for them. Cool. So, great news. We are getting there with the documentation stuff. I just need to now do the folders. I need to actually create a couple of folders and get them rendering out correctly. I also need to deal with the current folder location and all that kind of fun stuff. Alright, so if we create a new folder and we send the folder into the backend, so sending folder to API, this isn't going to work. We're going to hit create folder. We've actually got a 405. Now I knew that was going to happen. Method post not allowed. I haven't set up the API for this. But the request data should be in there, but it's just not, which annoys the hell out of me. Because it should be in there. So I need to do that next. because pretty much everything now. Oh, and another thing I should do. Sorry, I'm going to do this before I do anything else. So when you create a new folder, I need to make this disappear. Very, very simple. All right, we're going to go to document component. We're going to go into create and filter. We're going to, with the Welk drop down, we've got all of this with the Welk drop down and stuff like that. It goes up into here. So the Welk drop down, any of these items, drop down item clicked, will go up here. We open up the modal. Close the, close. We're essentially closing this button. Oh, how do I close it? So we go into here. We've got the menu open. I think this might be one of those things that, but then again, when we click on the drop-down menu, yeah, we could keep that in. It might be a thing where we turn that into. All right. Sorry, there is actually a bug with this. I need to fix it up in Welk. The idea being is this is not really a ref. This is actually going to be a model. And it's going to be that. That way we have access to opening and closing this outside of Welk. And by default, this is where we can do the required false, default false, because it'll be closed. We can do that, and that way, if yeah, that should work. Okay. I like that solution. Okay, so that one's done, that one's done. That's an easy solution, easy fix to that solution. Let's go get status, get add, get commit. Well, drop down, change menu open to a model. So external libraries can modify this value. And I'll do another release tonight with that change, which means that this in here is when someone clicks on something, like down here, they'll click on this, go up to here, close the modal. What we'll have is up here, equals drop down model equals ref boolean false. We actually have the ability to control it here. And what we can do is we just go v model equals drop down model, and that's the solution. And then we just drop down model equals false up here, wherever it is. Close the model, close the drop down, sorry. So drop down model dot value equals false. Easy. And Steffi, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. And don't forget to drop everyone on Twitch. You can do exclamation point and drop followed by your favorite emoji. I'm going to do judgmental Max. All right, so I'm quite happy with that. Ooh, 77.79. So close. 0.02 off from getting 77. All right. I'm quite happy with that. That's going to fix that bug where someone goes create a new folder and we want that whole entire screen to go back to normal so that the way the modal sticks out. Yeah, I've been a bit not so well lately, but that's perfectly fine. Better now. Yeah, can't complain now. Let's just say that. So yeah, let's just say I'm looking forward to my holiday. I was kind of hoping to have NearBeach a lot further along than it is right now. Yeah. Yes, I haven't had proper holidays for 2 years. So I'm taking some big holidays. Let's just say that. And then I'm hoping during the holidays I might spend 1 or 2 days here or there, especially when I'm traveling around getting more of this stuff done, because I want to get NearBeach out. I want to get the new 0.32 out, or at least at a stage where I can thoroughly test it and do release candidates. It's so far off that though. I haven't even started planning how to do any of the administration stuff. I'm thinking of just porting in the Kanban board almost as is. Probably simplifying the Kanban board a bit. Yeah. I'll be glad once I get the projects done. Tasks will follow quickly. Requirements and requirement items will follow very quickly after that. Then it will be the Kanban board, which is the biggest functionality. That will be the biggest change. And then it's the request for change, which will also be a big import. Yeah, I'll be glad once it's done. Let's just say that. Yeah. And then there's another thing which I want to actually implement. Alright, so, sorry, big yawn. I am going to finish up soon just because I haven't been feeling well and I don't want to push myself too much. But yeah, that is a bit of a bug. So when someone clicks on that, you want that to all disappear and stuff like that. So I'm going to push that change tonight. I'm going to push that into here and that will fix that. I just need now to do the API. for accepting all the new documentation and all that kind of stuff. I will probably do a little bit of that tomorrow and on Sunday. And then once that is done, it's just showing everything and then getting the navigation working there. And then once that's done, I can then move on to notes and comments, which will be a lot faster because that's simple CRUD. Simple CRUD. In fact, I think I could just pull in the CRUD that I used for version 0 almost. And yeah, because there'll be a simple little thing here with a add note, and you write on it, and then you click your add. And then you got your public links, and I've got to move the sprint stuff into here. The public links is going to be, once again, very, very quick and easy. That's just basic CRUD. It's not that hard to do. Then I've got to do all the group access, which will be a bit harder to do, but I think I can pull most of that from existing API. It'll be simplified, which is nice. The stakeholders, that will be a brand new API, just because I'm now adding in the ability for you to not connect a stakeholder and have the ability to add and remove stakeholders from particular tasks. And then all of this is done. And then I just got to bug test and make sure this is working correctly, this linked objects. So yeah. Doesn't sound like much to go, but trust me, it is a lot. So yeah. Anyway, I should call it here, just because, yeah, once again, I don't want to push myself. We are going to raid Mr. Togglebit himself. There he is, in all his bits and glory. Alright. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for coming tonight. It has been wonderful. We actually got a lot done tonight, which is nice. We've also kind of simplified this whole entire process a lot, which I am greatly happy about. I'm glad I've decided to use the store. It's just going to make life so much simpler for me. And I'm glad I've separated it out into its own store too. Once again, it simplifies everything out. Yeah, let's go and raid Mr. Togbit. Anyway, thank you. And for those on YouTube, sadly you won't be able to follow us, but thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that actually does help. And I'll see you guys next time.